So I got into the world of AI during my cancer treatment.
What was the impression of the doctor when you came with these results?
I refused because I'm like, I can't see the data yet. And I said, this for me is very scary that I'm receiving these kind of reactions first glance. How can I trust you?
Paulina Fadrowska es la creadora de Curious with AI.
Un portal donde ayuda a miles de dueños de empresas y personas comunes a entender el poder de la inteligencia artificial y cómo pueden aplicarla en su día a día.
So this is where your other brain, your superpower, I call it, ChatGPT came in and
Paulina, 1 year ago, you changed my perception about artificial intelligence. And I really appreciate that because I was able to be more productive at my work. I was able to make a good improvements in my life. And I discovered a whole universe about opportunities and really cool things that is happening right now in this war of technology. I have a question for you. How you get this curiosity about artificial intelligence?
Well, thank you so much for bringing me aboard, Ricardo. And that's quite the introduction. I really appreciate and opening that universe for you and hope to do so for all your viewers that are tuning in today and beyond. So I got into the world of AI during my cancer treatment. It was kind of, I'd say, delivered to me. A couple of my coworkers were dabbling into it and just kind of mentioning, have you heard of this ChatGPT, this AI world stuff? And I'm like, no, not really. I haven't. And once I started doing a couple of research on it, I said, holy moly, this is like the gold mine rush
Wow.
of back of 49. Like this was life-changing. This was the newest technology that if you're not learning it, you're going to be left behind.
So I'm very curious because you're telling me that you get a cancer diagnosis, right? And
Yes.
So what you do with this artificial intelligence, you analyze results or what kind of improvements you can do with the AI?
Yeah, exactly to that. So, when you get a diagnosis, and this could be cancer or anything related, unless you are a medical expert or in that field, you have millions of questions, no idea which direction to go. Then you come across different studies that are showing you, this person had X, Y, and Z, and they used this and that. So for my particular case, where I used it in, was coming across data specifically related to the gene mutation ADH1C. So I did this gene DNA test a while back, and that always had stuck in my head. And so when I brought this up to the chemo team, they were like, oh, everything's going to be fine, this and then that, where I found contradicting evidence in some medical studies saying that particular person had ADH1C and they had resistance to cisplatin, which was the chemo that they were giving me. So I pulled out ChatGPT and I had it analyze the data. Now, when you're reading like a medical journal, there is a lot of medical jargon. So there's things that I don't understand. So this is where your other brain, your superpower, I call it, ChatGPT came in, and I literally fed it the data and said, please explain this to me if I was 16 years old. And it come to find out, it showed me that for this particular person with the cancer, whether it was throat cancer for that person, the resistance was not working with cisplatin. So it's showing a resistance in that scenario. So my first round of chemo, I got really serious about it because I had a strong reaction to it the first round. So concerning and alarming that my speech was impaired and I was having all these like red flags that were coming up that I'm like, pay attention. So with that data and then, talking with some other people in the field, I came to the conclusion that was just not for me and I halted. And so I passed off that information to the medical team to like dig more and figure a little bit more out before I even proceeded with that. I was just not going to proceed with that. There was too much of playing with my life at that point.
So one question for you, because this is very interesting. When we talk about medical data, this data is very confusing for us. We don't have the technical knowledge to start analyzing all these numbers. So it's amazing that you can get this information, put it on ChatGPT or any artificial intelligence, and then what is explaining to you. So what was your concern at that moment? Because when you start reading this analysis, is very concerning for you that you have, for my understanding right now, it's like some kind of allergy, like
Yeah.
was presenting like some really bad reaction for your body. And I really want to know, what was the impression of the doctor when you came with these results or with this mindset about what is happening right now? I think that the doctor have this impression like, wow, what is that,
Well, it was at the first beginning of ChatGPT. So ChatGPT literally launched like November, October 2022. So this is the time frame we're going back to. So I'm like one of the first originators of the platform when it was first available to the public. So no one was aware of it. No one knew it existed. It was just starting to become its thing that it's, becoming today. So she just kind of ran it past her partner, her medical team. It was just insisting that it's okay. Until I explained my actual reactions to it. Then she told me to halt and maybe, pause it a little bit, or try a different drug. And I refused because I'm like, I can't see the data yet. And I said, this for me is very scary that I'm receiving these kind of reactions first glance. How can I trust you? I can't trust you. So I didn't proceed, I didn't proceed with that. But I do want to mention that with ChatGPT, you can almost also have it explain a story to you. So with that data that I got, I said, okay, explain to me as if it was, getting a cold or something like that, just so I can get more visual and data information on what exactly it was trying to tell me. And at that point, the way that it constructed the sentence was like, if I can keep continuing to use this drug, my body's telling me it's being resistant, so it's not working. So why are you giving me this treatment if the data is showing you it's not working, specifically in my case?
Yeah.
So that's where the contradiction is. And I think if doctors and medical teams really stepped in and started using this as a partner or as a superpower to help people more than think of like, ooh, scary boogeyman, I think that they could really embrace their institutions to really help people, because everyone is so unique and defined uniquely that you cannot have a one approach system to everyone. You just, I after going through that, I strongly believe in that.
It's amazing, it's incredible, because if you start reading or hearing the news, everything about AI is so scary. and
Yeah.
and when you start analyzing the opportunities that we're having right now, we're very lucky to be in this moment, because it's thousands of hundreds of opportunities is opening right now. So it's a lot of concerns about jobs. It's a lot of concerns about education. It's a lot of concerns about ethical, and it's a lot of bias right now with AI.
Mm-hmm.
So when you share the story to me, is wow, it's holy moly, it's a big surprise. It's amazing. Even I want to tell you something. I have an uncle that he worked in pharmaceutical business, and I was sitting with him like 3 months ago. And I was talking, in one part of the conversation, we start talking about AI. And he was start sharing with me a really cool ideas that the medical market or business are improving right now with AI. So they are making online tests with AI that is giving amazing results in just 10 minutes. So when they get all this information, they're testing in a real life to check how is these results. And what is amazing is almost 90 to 95% accurate, the results in real life with these test results about AI. So it's incredible. How can we use this technology to really good things? And this is why I have it to you today, because it's another perspective about this, and it's so many opportunities. So
1,000%.
You have all this experience that I think that changed completely your life, right? One question for you, and it's very personal. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing excellent. Thank you. I'm in remission and I'm so far cleared. So far good. I think if you keep a positive mindset and you really just listen to your body and learn to say no, I think you can stay with the decisions that you make. So yeah.
Yeah, because
Thank you for asking.
For some people, it's difficult to contradict a doctor, especially when your life is on risk, and he have a suggestion to do this therapy to you or this chemotherapy to you. It's complicated to came, hey, look, I had this information. I want to improve another way.
And
so
you know, real thing. I think doctors need to set aside their ego sometimes and allow themselves to be wrong, because in the wrongs is sometimes where you find the right, is sometimes where you find the solution. And if you're truly a doctor, I mean, your positioning is to help people to get better. And sometimes what you're being taught is really not the best way, especially since we're advancing. And again, going back to what you just mentioned about your uncle, having the data available to process quicker and sooner than you normally would. So you can get quicker results. And on top of that story, you know, I asked the hospital, I said, how are you analyzing my data? You know, if they had implemented a ChatGPT, whatever AI program inside that hospital, okay, and was actually checking in on patients and checking on their progress and weekly checking in and putting this and submitting this into the intelligence, into the machine learning, then you can really track the progress, the things, etc., that are happening with each individual case, and collectively have a data mine of what effects are happening with who, what, where, and how. Because I asked her, I said, the next girl after me, the next little boy or little girl or man or elderly person or whoever, the next person like me that has the ADH1C and has that same program you want to give to them with the cistaplin, and it's proven that it's resistant. How are you tracking that? How are you that when the next person sits in your seat, you're going to tell them, you know what, by the way, this did not work on case number 00143. I think we need to go a different route with you. Like, why is that not the standard? Why is that not being said? And that was my biggest pet peeve among them, in trying to understand, like, how come that wasn't available? And then also the aftercare. There is no aftercare. So again, going back to ChatGPT and these AIs, I train them to literally be like a therapist for me in going through all that.
I think that this is the biggest inspiration to create Curious with AI, right? This is one of your projects. What is Curious with AI? I think this is a really nice website with a really cool information about what is happening. But what is your purpose to create this portal and open it to the public?
So it's my curiosity in molding and playing with AI. It's not just one thing, it's many things. And I try to help people as much as I can, whom I come across, business owners to regular people who are just families and things going on. And they kind of talk to me and tell me things. I'm like, hey, this can help you in this way. And if they're open to it, I show them and I teach them how to do it. So Curious with AI for me is like my brain dumping area. So it's a place for me to have my playground and test and experiment with AI, and then kind of just let it out there. So that's where that kind of formulated. It was just a place for me to be able to get things out. And when I say play with AI, meaning like I've gone to furniture shops with it. I've gone to a car dealership and, you know, talked to the dealer and like getting the best price and how to do it with ChatGPT, a second brain, and AI. I've used it on all kinds of different areas. So it's not just one thing. And I think people get so stuck into thinking, oh, it writes essays. It does far more than that. It's the user, it's the person who is using it to plant the seeds of what you want it to do for you.
You know, something that happened to me, I go to restaurants, you know, or go to different business. I start having or establish conversation with different owner business or staff that is working in these places. And when I ask about artificial intelligence, I can say that 70% of the people say no or have some bias with this, you know. It's so many good opportunities. So I want to create a fake scenario. I want to imagine that I have a business, you know. 7 years ago, I have a restaurant. At the moment, the AI don't exist. But if I have a restaurant right now with my knowledge on IT, I think that I can create a really cool things to get better results on my company. So we're going to create this scenario that I have a restaurant and I am a new owner that I don't have too much cash. For me, it's very difficult to hire an agency to start promoting my business. How can I get a good improves about ChatGPT? Because I think that one of the keys for that is about the prompts. You know, what you are
Yes.
inserting, how you can create a role for this artificial intelligence. Can you help me to giving a really good idea? How can I increase my sales or have a better customer service or just changing my menu?
Yeah. So dabbling into it, what I would say number one is create a custom GPT. And I don't think it took off like it should have, maybe to the way it was positioned or marketed or communicated to the masses. But for me, when I program a custom chat GPT, and we're talking about GPT specifically, there's Gemini, there's Anthropic, there's all these other available AIs too. But for this example, I want to stick with GPT.
Okay,
And you
one
feed it the
question.
data, so you tell it,
I'm
yeah,
sorry for interrupt you, but I want to speak in the more clearest way because a lot of people don't know what is a GPT. What is a
yeah.
GPT?
So it is a machine learning system that basically you teach what you want it to learn about you. People think that like just you ask a question, you get the result, and that's it. Where you should be challenging it and then going back and forth on a conversation in order to get the results you really want to do. But you have to teach it. It doesn't know everything because it's actually taking data from the internet and from all the like books maybe that were written in the library, and it's trying to fetch all that information to you. So just imagine like this globe of information, and yet you need to be very specific and fine tune it because they'll give you anything. If
Yeah.
the question is too vague, it'll give you anything, right? And so there's a lot of like hallucinations that happen because I think it's just too much that, it just blurts out whatever just to give you an answer instead of you doing your homework a little bit and then fine tuning it. So this is a custom GPT is like you creating a almost like a child, I'd say, kind of relative to that because it's pure. It's pure. It doesn't know anything, and you're creating the best possible outcome. So going back to your example with the restaurant. So hypothetically, what you can do is with the GPT, you would configure the data for it. So you would tell it, hey, I'm opening up a restaurant here in the state of Florida in the Treasure Coast area. I want to serve, lobster, prime, fine dining, this X, Y, and Z. We're located right by the ocean. You would get really fine-tuned and detailed. I have a staff of 18. Melissa, John, purple, yellow, whatever, polka dot. Our colors are X, Y, and Z. Our logo is this, and you can actually attach it and upload it. So you create this custom GPT with PDFs. You can attach Excel sheets. You can attach anything and everything where it knows your business. And so then when you ask these questions that are specific in these prompts, when you ask it directly for your business, it can then give you a fine-tuned result. So it can say, hey, Melissa would be great working at this because she has great customer service and she would be best for this promotion, So like it does the middle groundwork for you. It saves a lot of time, and time is everything.
Yeah.
So if something can save you time and you can have an advantage, why would you not use that? And so with ChatGPT, once you feed it your menu, you can say, okay, well, summer's coming up. Why don't we do some fun summer promotions, And I'm thinking, let's, use the ripest fruits available in this region, like oranges, of course, and, peaches maybe from Georgia or something. So like you can really do some fun collaborations with other vendors or other restaurants or whatever. But the possibilities are endless to have like a lot of fun and a lot of play. You have to think of it as like a playground. Like you're coming in to play a little bit and then get the results you really, really want and need.
And to complement what you're saying right now, I think that when you start creating this GPT, it's very important to create a role. Like, okay,
Yeah.
You are an amazing chef that is going to provide me amazing summer plates for this season, and we're going to create this menu with these specific products, because, for example, this season we're having in a really low prices this list of ingredients. Help me to create cool ideas for cocktails, for plates, for all of this. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's about what you said. I think that is very important. You're saving time, but also you're creating a really good productivity for your business and for everything. I think that is really good. Look, let me tell you something that happened to me. So I want to share something very cool that I did a long time ago. I remember one day I opened my fridge and I see some ingredients, At that day, I was super busy. I don't have time to go to the supermarket to get the products that usually get every week. And I just take a picture and I say to ChatGPT, look, analyze this picture, taking these products you are here and create 4 or 3 meals for the next days because I'm very busy. I don't have time to go to do the market, and to get these products and everything. And was amazing. Was amazing because I reduced, throwing food. I was tasting new food and was amazing. Yeah. And also I started discovering the potential of all of this. So for example, I create this routine to start making exercise every day. And at that moment, I say, I don't want to pay for a personal trainer for this. Today we have so many resources and apps, but I was imputing my information, how much, my weight, everything. And he gave me a really good exercise routine for me. And one thing I really love about this was very customized to me. So it was amazing. Yes. So I think this is the opportunities that you can start getting a lot of things. You can create a person or a GPT that is helping to have a better finances, or saving money, or investing money, or creating a keto meal. I don't know. In the next week, we're going to have an amazing influencer that talk about keto, and I love it, And I get so many cool ideas with GPTs that I create for me that is working for me, and it's so amazing. So one of the things that I love about you is that you changed that perception for me. So I want to say thank you for that.
You're welcome. And going back to your discussion on going into the fridge, let's say if you have an allergy or you can't eat something specifically because, let's say you had a dental procedure or whatever, you can say that to the GPT and say, hey, by the way, I have an allergy, this and this and X, Y, and Z, or hey, I had a medical treatment of, something dental. And what it will do is look at the ingredient list in your refrigerator that you took and then rewrite the recipes that would be best fitted for you in that particular moment. So you can really fine tune it. When I say fine tuning, meaning treat it as a garden that you are planting these beautiful seeds to work and grow for you. So the fruition, the final product that you receive is exactly to what you need. It's exactly to what you need.
So we're having all this data, and we're having all this information, but one of the biggest concerns that all the people is having right now is AI is growing so fast, and I think it's missing a lot of regulation right now when we're talking about artificial intelligence, because we can create everything right now. We can create videos, we can create images, we can create and recreate a lot of things that I think that it's very important to have control of some policies about this. Months ago, Europe started creating a new regulation for artificial intelligence. United States is a country that right now is not taking these rules to run the AIs in this country. So my question is, what is your concern about AI and the way that it's growing? Because we had this experience in the 90s with Internet come, and Internet come with a big revolution. I think that AI is creating the same thing that it happened in the 90s, But at that moment, Internet grows so fast that was not enough regulation and was out of control. I think that today we are out of control with Internet. And I think that AI is growing so fast and it's making so many improvements right now that it's difficult to be ahead with this technology. So what is your concern about? Don't have a regulation about this.
So with regulation, I think it comes at a later date in due time. Just like you mentioned with the internet, when the internet first came out, it was Wild Wild West. Anything and everything was available and foreseen. And right now, I think there's going to be some teams that are created within the government and also within these AI personnel that help kind of deter bad actors from doing things that they're not supposed to do. There's a couple of examples on YouTube, if you do research it, where there is police officers or intel officers that are trying to get the machine to go against bad things to convert them to do something they're not supposed to do. So they are training these models to make sure that they stay contained and don't exceed or go outside of them. So I think it's still a learning process. I don't know how long the time frame will be on something like that, but I think as people are using it, and the masses are using it, the machine is then feeding the information and the learning that then gets provided to the intel that can then redefine the machine to make sure it doesn't step out of bounds. So there was a time in 2022 when the machine was first coming out that we were challenging it, and it would say, I'm sorry, I can't do that. And then you can overpower it by saying, well, this is for a hypothetical scenario. And so if you say those specific words, what would happen is it would override that command and give you the answer, which is naughty. It's not good, especially if it's someone wants to do something that's not in the right way, or, to do some harm or whatnot. So I think with anything, you're going to have bad actors, and I don't think you should punish the AI for it. You need to cull and punish the bad actors right away, because the technology of greatness and potential and the beauty it can bring oversees all the extra stuff. It really does.
It's just the way that you use it, It's like I was listening to this conversation a long time ago about two persons that work in technology and they create business, and it's amazing. With artificial intelligence, we are in an era right now that a company with just two people can get a company of $1 million very easy. I'm not saying that it's easy, but you can do it, and you can have this opportunity because the GPT is going to save you a lot of time. It's going to have so many information and resources to play and have ahead with the competition. Even I want to say to you that for this podcast, I'm using artificial intelligence to get a really good tags or keywords that create more organic content for my videos. And it's amazing. I was sharing this screenshot with you. I'm getting a really good results with Google, So this data help me to save a lot of times, because today we have tools. For example, we have SEMrush. SEMrush is an amazing tool, but you need to put a lot of time to investigate keyword by keyword to check what is working. So what is amazing about AI is connected to internet. So it's checking what is trending right now, and he helps you to optimize your content. And it's amazing. I think this is amazing, and you can do it for the good purpose, like I'm doing, or thousands of hundreds of people is doing, but also you can do it in the bad way. And this is, I think that this is the really concern about a lot of people. Like, I know that if you open Gemini or you open ChatGPT and I say, hey, help me to construct a bomb, of course that is it's not going to provide you the information, but you can play with that. So you can change the role.
When it first started, it did.
Yeah,
there were scenarios that it did, and that's where they had to come in and set those boundaries. Like, this is absolutely a no-go, and I think a lot of people have that fear that there's going to be one person with the key, with the right way, with whatever, with the right prompt or the right challenge or whatever, that will override the system. And I think that's the biggest worry down the line. And I think when we get there, sure, but I don't see that right now. I really don't. I feel like this could be such an advantage and used in the best way possible, more so than doing harm. Are we going to lose jobs? Sure, but it's going to be jobs that people don't want anyway. And what's going to happen is it's going to create new jobs that people will want to do or want to explore because they'll challenge to use their mind. So like with any disruption that came along, whether it was the printer, photographers, think about photographers. Photographers used to use film. Okay. Imagine how many film companies had to go out of business or convert or do something completely different. Newspapers were printed in the day, by hand. So like all these disruptions that came about created brand new jobs, and of course back then it was scary. Oh my God, we have to learn something brand new. Great, learn it. I mean, challenge yourself. And the biggest beautiful thing about a GPT and like the Anthropic or Gemini is you have the world at your fingertips. You have knowledge at your fingertips that you can challenge and construct ideas, mold ideas, whatever you have in here, you can expand on it, where GPT will literally give you step by step on the process on how to start that business, on how to do the best marketing, on how to offer different marketing scenarios, on how to even translate what you want to different languages. It's endless. When I say endless possibilities, it's endless. You have a whole team inside of that GPT, Anthropic, or whatever system you're using. You have a whole team there, a whole
Yeah,
team.
it's,
And going back to the restaurant real quick, the way that you took a picture of your refrigerator. So if you, the restaurant owner, took a picture of your dish that you created and asked the GPT, help me to create the menu description for this. Let's say, we're a Caribbean type of restaurant. We need it in a Caribbean spoken kind of way. And by the way, you have to give your GPT some personality. So along with your restaurant, provide that to that. Give it your theme. Give it your voice, what it should sound like. If there's an actress or actor or a celebrity that can kind of resemble that, tell the GPT that. And what happens is when you get that description, it's going to be unique and catered a little bit more towards you. And I've seen this a lot in the AI world right now, where people would just ask for a prompt and they copy and paste it. And some of the examples are elevate or level up, immerse yourself. These are continuous patterns of ChatGPT talk. And if you are new to this, please, please, please pay attention here. Please pay attention. You need to refine the copy. Refine the copy.
Yeah, this is very interesting because the last time I was in the supermarket, so I was reading some advertisements that was promoting some specific products, and I was seeing that specific words, elevate or embrace, is using the same language. So I think that what you're saying is very important, because I need that you need to put some personality, you need to give some context, because if you start just providing information, random information, they're going to provide you a lot of bias and a lot of data that is not accurate for your situation. So
Correct.
I think that this is very important when you start creating these GPTs. And one thing that I want to mention, creating a GPT is not difficult. You don't need to know about coding. You don't need to know about any IT knowledge to start developing this.
That's right.
You really have to have a really good ideas on your mind and express that ideas to this GPT, because everything is about testing, or you can talk, and you can express what you want, what is your expectations, what is your location, what is the people that is going to your business, and they can provide you a really good insights, even for people that work in UI UX, you can create A/B testing with AIs, so because this is a very tedious work, so you need to find 100 people to start analyzing and making studies to check how is the people behaving in some situations. And the good thing with AI, you can start creating these profiles, and you're going to have a really good insights about this. But I think this is very important. The personality that you provide to the GPT is fundamental to get the best result for you, because if you don't do it, you are going to receive information that is not for you, and you're going to be pointing in the wrong position. So this is why I love what are you doing right now, because you're educating so much people with artificial intelligence. I think this is really cool. I had the opportunity to know you in person, and it's great. It's amazing. You have a beautiful mindset. I love that, So when I start talking to you, you blow my mind. I say, oh my God, this is so cool. I never see artificial intelligence in the way that she is teaching to me. So this is really nice. I want to explore some topic that you was talking about this minutes ago, and I think that is very important. So about job opportunities, because when a big industrial change come to the market, that have consequences, and that happened in the 20s, that happened in the 50s, and it's happening in a short period of time. Even when the technology came, it's creating a lot of positions and destroying a lot of positions. What is your perspective about what is coming? Because there are a lot of expectations that 30% of the real market right now is going to have a big impact with the implementation of AI. People that work in customer service, people that work, for example, in restaurants, people that work in IT. One of my best friends working IT, and I say, hey, I'm very concerned that the GPT is going to start coding for me, you know? So even lawyers, people that work with accountability, it's a lot of positions that is in danger right now. What is your perspective about what is coming?
I don't see danger. I see it being your superpower and your sidekick and your super brain next to you. So even though the GPT is doing this stuff, hypothetically, you still need a human to analyze it, to look at it, to look it over, to make sure it did it right. You still need somebody to basically look over the stuff that it did. You still need somebody telling it what you need. You still need like a person to do all that. So I don't think anybody's going away with that. So for an attorney, the attorney gathers the data with the person. So you sit down at a meeting, let's say hypothetically right now, let's say, I'm an attorney and I have my GPT running with me. I ask the client for permission to make sure we can actually record the session. They say yes. And mind you, there are already AIs that are built this way that if you have a meeting online, like you and I, we can schedule an AI to come in right now, listen to our conversation, then recap it at the end, and then send us a detailed analysis on things that need to get done, things that are already done, things that we can look for opportunities, and et cetera, and analyze the whole thing. So you still need someone to look that over and get that done. You still need to relate those tasks to the people. So you still need the secretary or assistant to say, hey, this is the recap of the meeting. This is what we need to get done, X, Y, and Z. But it helps make her job a lot easier than sitting there and having to take notes on every single thing that is happening. So, it's a plus. And so the same thing for a lawyer. If a lawyer had a sidekick next to him and he's consulting with the client, sometimes you're so into something that you miss parts, right? That you may not see it right in that moment. But having a sidekick, maybe the sidekick will have the opportunity. So at the end of the discussion with the attorney, your report shows up, let's say right here on the screen. And you say, okay, great. Can you tell me what we summarized and talked about? Boom, 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 bulletin points. Okay, great. Where do you see me having an opportunity in making sure that we prove this person is innocent? Boom, 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 boom. And you can really go into a back and forth tennis match, checkerboard chess kind of game where you plug and play the data that you just received and you play back and forth. So you're having like a conversation with the third person, but the third person is the AI. And then the one that was tuning in and listening to the whole conversation from the beginning.
I think that the AI is not going to take out your job. What is going to take out your job is the person that really knows to manage the AI, because it's going to be really productive, And I want to say to you, when I start improving the artificial intelligence on my work, I started receiving really good insights, and I was sharing a really cool ideas on my work, and I was able to be more productive. I was saving a lot of time. I have a raise in my company. I have a lot of really beautiful things in my work that put me in a really good position because I was interested to know more about this. So with the competition that I have in my work, because at the end, you have your coworkers, but everybody's competing to be the best. I was in this position that was much better than, another coworkers because I was start sharing really cool ideas. And the most important thing is the company, give me the opportunity to start creating all these cool ideas and making real. And that was amazing, So I start presenting results, and I shocked the clients. I shocked my boss. I start shining in the company because I was receiving a really good insights about AI. So when the people start,
the most beautiful thing you can do is take your mind, your mindset, your brain, and use the power of AI to work for you, to work with you, to be your sidekick and expand ideas for that company. And that's where you find value in a person and taking ownership of that and really digging into something and creating something absolutely beautiful from nothing to everything.
For the people that is thinking that is going to lose the job, I really want to encourage the people that start believing, okay, it's a lot of positions that is not going to continue in the future because it's part of the nature, it's part of the way that we evolve. But I need that the people start thinking that it's hundreds, and thousands of new jobs that are coming. Something that is out of my mind right now, it's a really cool job positions that is coming. It's a really cool opportunities for the entrepreneur to create business, it's a lot of new markets creating right now. And this is what frustrates me sometimes, because the people just focus on the negativity about the things. And I really believe that it's coming a lot of blessings in terms of job positions and cool ideas. We're going to be able to have a really cool experiences in terms of entertainment, in jobs, in so many fields. So I think this is very important to talk about it, So I have a question for you. If you have the opportunity to talk with a person that have all these fears, what you suggest, what do you say to this person to say, hey, look, you need to do this to start getting ahead with all the things that is coming in the future?
So I first would talk to them and figure out what their actual fear is. Is it fear of like failure? Do they feel like they're not going to be able to get this? Like you got to figure out what the stem of the fear is. And from the stem of the fear, then you can actually show them a position that maybe they were not aware of or open to. For example, I was out and about somewhere and I met someone that was giving me a brochure of their daughter recently passing away from an abusive relationship. And so, I kind of talked to them about like what they're doing in their initiative. And I thought that was absolutely, honorable of them to do this in their daughter's name and to bring so much awareness. But I looked at their brochure and I said, you can really get this jazzed up a little bit more that speaks to the teenager. And they're like, well, what do you mean? And so I said, well, I'm like, have you heard of AI and all that? And at first they were very like apprehensive. They didn't want to hear it. And I said, can you just give me a moment? They're like, okay. So I showed them taking a picture of their current brochure. And I said to the GPT, I said, can you help me to talk in teenager talk? So when a teenager gets this, they can understand it. And so what it did was rewrote the whole brochure as a teenager would speak. So you know how they have like their language and their, HBT, how about you, or whatever, like all the little language and stuff like that. So it literally mimicked to them being able to relate to it versus like an adult brochure that it's not for that audience. It's not for them. So it's kind of just one-on-one approach and getting to hear and see what is the holdback? What is your block? What is your fear? What do you think it is? What do you think is going to happen? Instead, open up to, well, just think of everything that could happen. Think of the possibilities. And I would really challenge people after listening to this and hearing this is to go to ChatGPT, and I want you to talk your dreams to it. I want you to say, hey, I've always had this idea of doing that. How can I even start to do something? And you're going to watch the magic of that AI start talking back to you on the ways you can make that happen. And so I'm not a coder, but I've started creating some programs that I want to make, right? And so I have ChatGPT begin the structure for me. So not only does ChatGPT create that kind of stuff, but it can actually help you create and develop software. It can help you create, develop apps. It can help you develop all these cool things. You just got to go in there and play with it. Like just play with it.
Yeah, it's amazing, because I was reading this book that have amazing data about people, and one of this information that really caught my attention was like the average adult stop educating at the age of 27, and I blow my mind. I say, why you're going to stop? Why you're going to stop at 27? You have so many cool things to do. It's like and this is what I want to encourage the people. Don't stop to educate. Take this as an opportunity to grow your mind, to create beautiful things and make your dreams come true. I think it's amazing, it's so many tools that is going to help you to be able to make that as a reality. And so I think that it's very important to start promoting these conversations and trying to move this mindset of the people like, hey, forget about the fears, preparing for what is coming, because it's coming a lot of beautiful things,
Yes.
So what do you want? Do you want to have the consequences about what is happening, or do you want to be ahead? I take this as an opportunity to have the life that you want. And this is what I really want to encourage. Even look, I want to share something cool.
Yeah.
So I am a business management. I studied that career. I don't study computer science, but I always loved about IT and all these things. And I start educating, I start taking UX, UI courses. I start taking courses to create websites, software developer. I get involved with AI. And what is funny is I just started taking a GPT as my teacher, So I was inputting this information about the classes that I was receiving. I am a self-learner. So right now, I think that for some careers, of course, university is not necessary. Of course, if you study medicine, you need to go to university, But for example, if you are in IT, you don't really need to have a university to have and start working in this field. So I start getting all this curiosity learn about all of this. And I start using GPT and ChatGPT as my teacher. So I was inputting all this information and I say, hey, this is very complex. I'm learning Python. Python is a very complex language. It's so many numbers and codes. Explain me in the most easy way. How can I understand this? I don't like numbers. So that wasn't one of my biggest challenges, because when I go to the university, I start studying computer science. And I remember going to the first semester and having so maths. And that thing, I say, I can't with that. It's too much for me. I don't like it. I say, it's coming 6 semesters of full maths. I don't want this. But I have the curiosity to learn. So I was able to learn all this technology, everything about coding. And I take this GPT to teach me, imputing the information that I was receiving, make it more simple for me. Even when I have a test, I was doing quiz exams, as a test to check how was my knowledge. And the GPT was providing me the feedbacks about what was my errors and my mistakes to learn about this. So this is really cool, You had this opportunity to learn a lot of things, huh?
It's like custom learning. So, there's a lot of stuff in high school where I didn't pay attention because I honestly didn't really care about it. It wasn't anything I really wanted to learn. So my brain didn't absorb it. My brain didn't care to learn it. But now that I have like this AI sidekick powerhouse, I can learn anything and everything that I choose to. And if I want to continue the learning process, then there's deeper levels to learning that. And if there's something that I want to expand on, then of course you just reach out to the right resources or try to program, test and trial, et cetera, et cetera. But to know that you right now in this current time frame have everything available at your hands, there is no reason to complain. There is no reason to have an excuse to not try to figure it out, to not try to get it in your own hands and do the work. And do the work. You still have to do the work. The AI is not going to do everything for you. You still have to ask for what you need and what you want and to program it that way. So people right now are creating, movie scripts off of it. Yeah. People right now are working on, podcast scripts or podcast ideas or movie ideas or marketing ideas or, the next new social media platform. I mean, everything's available to regenerate and remake right now. Everything.
In terms of entertainment, I was listening to a company in Spain that is creating something really cool. So they are creating a technology with AI that is going to be as a Netflix for you, but this content don't exist. So they are creating right now is you sit in your chair in front of your television and you say to your television, hey, I want to see a TV series about police in India fighting with lions and I don't know, a crazy story. This technology is going to be able to create a TV show that nobody watching, that never was recorded, was creating in just seconds to you, and you're going to be able to see it. And when you finish, you're going to be able to say, I want to save this for the future, or I want to share this with other people. So in terms of creativity, it's coming a lot of good things, It's coming amazing entertainment. It's coming amazing ideas. And I think that this is the perfect moment to expand your mind, to start growing and start getting all these cool ideas and start influence for people, because you can create so many cool things today. And this is one of the beautiful things about AI. And it's it's simple amazing. It's just in terms of education, technology, medicine. If you start seeing the whole spectrum about everything, I think there is more opportunities right now than
Yes.
fears, but everything is about your perception, no?
Correct. It's the lens you have on your eye. So if you view everything in the world as bad, everything is going to be bad for you. Everything will be. But if you have a view and perception of optimism and a positive mindset, then 9 times out of 10, everything can be good. You know what I mean? So it's definitely the viewer and the eyeball that you have in viewing your day-to-day circumstances. So, life is not perfect. Life is
Yeah.
not ideal. But again, you're the driver in the seat of your life, and you get to choose every single day. Do you want to go left? Do you want to go right? Do you want to go straight? And you got to be okay with whatever direction you go with. You know what I mean? That's your call. So another thing I did want to bring up though was the Midjourney and DALL-E, the AI image generators,
Yeah.
and also Firefly, Adobe. And talking about that in that world and generating images and so forth and stuff like that, along with Sora, that I'm still awaiting to see. And Sora is this incredible video technology where you put in a particular prompt and you will get this beautiful, natural kind of looking video, which I think, yes, can help videographers, and yes, it kind of sucks for videographers. I think what the cool thing is me as a creative, and I don't have $1 million budget to go, videograph on the moon. With Sora, I can do that. I can storytell and say, hey, I'm playing this beautiful piano on the moon with sunlight rays coming down and the cosmos behind me. And then God's hand or the creator's hand comes out and just, scoops me up and holds me in his arms while I'm playing the piano. There's no way in production I can do that right now. With Sora, in my mind and what I want to create and make, that can happen,
Yeah.
and I played a lot with Midjourney in recreating my childhood memories. So one of my childhood memories was me as a little girl in Poland. This is the way we were taught to swim. They literally pushed you into the water and you either sank or you swam. Like, it's one of the two. And I remember as a little girl, like, being a little bit fearful because I'm looking at this dark water in front of me. And I'm just like, am I gonna like survive? Is somebody here to help me? And I remember that, I'm a grown woman right now, but that was so impactful for me that I used AI to recreate that moment for me in that memory. And I did it on a couple of other episodes too. And so like for using in those purposes, like why not, in mood boarding and wanting to tell a story or a movie script, why not use that? It saves time. That way, you can put your effort and your production time into the actual final product, but you can see what it looks like as a template or a framework, So,
Yeah.
and then with DALL-E and Midjourney, each one has its pros and cons. I find Midjourney to have better realistic results. They're getting better at hands. Like when it first came out, there were like 6 hands, 6 fingers on one hand, or, the eyeballs would be skewed or the face or whatever. So there's like all these weird elements, but it's getting a lot better depending on the prompt that you give it. And quick tip, if you want to know how to create the prompt, you go to ChatGPT and you say, hey, ChatGPT, I want to create a very high, ultra realistic model. She's wearing X, Y, and Z polka dot. She is in the center of a beautiful desert with red roses flying through the air, whatever it is. You tell ChatGPT that and say, hey, by the way, I'm giving this as an image prompt to Midjourney. Please write me the best possible way to get this communicated to the Midjourney, the image prompt generator. And it will write out specifically what you need to say to then plug it into that Midjourney and get the best possible result you can get.
So one question, if I don't have any knowledge about AI, I want to start today because I'm listening to this conversation and say, oh my God, this is really cool. I want to learn about this. If you can recommend 3 apps or software that is developing AI in a really good way, what is your suggestions? Because right now it's a whole universe of artificial intelligence. And
yeah,
I think that the people is start getting confused. Okay, what is the right one? Because a few days ago, I received this question in my WhatsApp, say, hey, I want to improve this, but I don't know how to start. For your experience, how can you help me to start in this AI world? What is the best one to start?
I think it starts with what's your intentions? What are you trying to use it for? And then go from there. Me, I dabbled primarily with the top 3 dogs, and that is OpenAI.
Yeah.
They are, I think, top of the top. Then there's Gemini and Anthropic Claude. So those are the 3 that I dabbled in, and I think each one serves a purpose. ChatGPT is my number 1 right now, comparison to Gemini and Anthropic. So Anthropic for me, I think processes a lot of data quicker and better, more efficiently, and the output is just a lot more concise and clear. ChatGPT can kind of hallucinate sometimes and get errors and get it wrong and have a lot of inconsistencies. So I think for like that data, that major data that you feed it, Anthropic does a really beautiful job with that. For Gemini, there's a lot of like roadblocks with it. It will, like, if you try to go swinging 2-way of get like inspiration from like a photo or a book or something, they might say, I'm sorry, I can't do that, or I'm sorry, I can't. So I get too many roadblocks with it that it turns me off, and I just don't want to even dabble with it. Before, it was really open and it worked with even your Gmail. So you can go in and say, hey, can you find me the email that I got that said X, Y, and Z, and just summarize it for me again? I was able to go in, fetch your emails, look through them, and then go back and say, oh, October 9th, 2023 from, Ricardo, you got an email talking about you're going to be on this podcast. Da, 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 da. So like, it automatically feds you what you need, what you're looking for. And ChatGPT, I think that's just the king right now for me. Anything that I really primarily need to get done or that I specifically want to challenge with, I go to ChatGPT. I have maybe over 1,000 threads open with ChatGPT and all the different ways that I played with it.
I with this expectation about the new version, the 5.0, because it's coming with a lot of cool things, and I think that is going to start providing more accurate information. At the end, I think that all this information that is providing ChatGPT or Gemini is very important to contrast this information, because not all the information that is providing is 100% accurate. So sometimes, for my experience, I start seeing that start creating some content that is not in a real context, and this is why it's very important to start double checking everything. But in terms of productivity and all the insights that I can create for you is so amazing. Paulina, thank you so much for having this really fun conversation, and I'm very happy to have this talking about this, because that was my intention, start seeing the light about this technology, and I think that it's very important to start moving and start promoting these technologies and open it for all the people, because it's a lot of good opportunities. So if I am a person that really want to contact you, how is the best way to do it?
Just go to curiouswithai.com and contact information, say hello, and I'd be more than happy to explore AI with you.
Thank you so much, Paulina. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Ricardo. Great podcast. I'm a fan.
Thank you.